Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. We're unpacking a really fascinating piece of source material today, a morning prayer. And we're going to see how it actually acts as a deeply practical, comprehensive blueprint for everyday life. Seriously, whether you're navigating a super stressful workplace, just feeling totally overwhelmed by the news cycle, or trying to carve out one little moment of peace, this text breaks the whole day down into manageable spheres. Let's explore exactly how it does that. You know the feeling, right? The alarm goes off, and immediately your brain is just running a mile a minute with a massive to-do list. We often wake up trying to figure out the whole chaotic day completely by ourselves. But this source material starts with a powerful counter-invitation. It suggests that instead of rushing headfirst into the chaos, we should pause and immediately reach for a companion. It's about setting the tone for the entire day before your feet even hit the floor.
So, what if you didn't face today alone? That is the core premise we're looking at here. It's a massive shift in mindset. We're talking about moving from carrying the crushing weight of daily uncertainty all by yourself to walking through every single hour with a constant, supportive companion right by your side.
The source actually illustrates a pretty stark contrast here. On one side, we have the default mode for so many of us, which is isolation and, frankly, anxiety. But on the other side, we have the alternative presented by our text, shared resilience. The idea is that by inviting God into the day right from the get-go, something amazing happens. You just don't have to carry the weight alone anymore. That mental shift happens the literal second we open our eyes. Moving on to Sphere 1, guarding the inner life.
Now, what's absolutely fascinating here is the incredible contrast the text draws. The prayer invokes an omnipotent God, literally the same creator who painted the sunrise this morning. But then it immediately grounds that massive cosmic power in the most mundane, intimate moments of your routine. We're talking about making breakfast or just sitting there drinking your morning coffee. It tells us that this companion isn't in a rush and actually values those quiet, simple moments with us just as much as the big life-changing events. Let's be real, though. Even during that quiet morning coffee, our minds can be incredibly noisy, right? Good thoughts kind of jumble together with unhelpful, anxious ones that are just trying to set up camp in your brain. So the source provides 3 highly practical steps to manage your mental space. You don't just let those thoughts run wild. You actively capture them. Then you align them or make them obedient to a higher standard. And the big one, when worry inevitably tries to sneak in, you actively replace it with worship and gratitude. And that leads us perfectly into decision-making. We make countless choices all day long. The text encourages us to actively manage a sort of mental ledger. So when you're making decisions, whether it's a huge career move or just a tiny daily interaction, we are asked to pause. Choose love over fear, patience over frustration, and, this is absolutely crucial, choose what is right over what is merely easy. To really anchor this practice of guarding our inner life, the text provides this super reassuring promise from Proverbs. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. It's basically a reminder that once you align your inner life and hand over your efforts, you can finally let go of all that micromanaging anxiety. The foundation is set and your daily plans are established. All right, let's look at Sphere 2, navigating the outer world. As our inner life is secured and we step out the front door, we face a whole list of very modern outer life challenges. What's so interesting is how the prayer acts as a real-time toolkit for all of these. It specifically addresses things like not falling into the comparison trap when you're endlessly scrolling social media. It talks about trusting a higher plan when the crazy daily news cycle gets you down. It even touches on being wise and generous with your money. It's just incredibly practical stuff. So, a crucial point here is how we actually communicate amidst all these modern distractions. The source uses this vivid verse from Colossians as a gold standard, seasoned with salt. What does that mean? It means our words shouldn't be bland or toxic. They should preserve, enhance, and bring life. It's a literal call to make sure our conversations, whether with family, coworkers, or totally random strangers, are just full of grace and encouragement. And let's see how this translates into action. The text gives us clear directives on navigating relationships, reminding us that we are meant to be hands and feet in the real world. That means taking some brave actions. Maybe it's offering a really difficult apology with courage, finding the strength to forgive someone, or simply choosing to see people with genuine compassion instead of judgment. Even something tiny, like holding a door open, is framed as being a light in the world. Next up, Sphere 3, facing challenges with faith.
I absolutely love how structured this is, because no matter how well we prep, we're going to hit friction. The source material maps out exactly how to process the unpredictable emotional roller coaster of a normal day. Notice it doesn't say to suppress your emotions. Instead, it gives a prescribed reaction. Sadness hits, lean on the comfort that God is close to the brokenhearted. Anger rising up, channel it so it honors your values. And if fear starts whispering lies, crank up the volume on truth. It's a really high EQ approach, completely grounded in faith.
But what about when our best laid plans just completely fall apart? You know, when plans suddenly change or a massive disappointment hits, the source leans on this powerful scripture from Jeremiah. It serves as this huge mental anchor. It reminds the reader that even when you can't possibly see how anything good can come from a messy situation, you can trust the timing and the trajectory of a much bigger benevolent plan.
The text then gets incredibly specific with some super relatable hurdles. We're not talking about abstract theological concepts here. We're talking about a random Tuesday afternoon. When the printer breaks, stay calm. When someone is rude to you in the checkout line, respond with grace. When the office gossip starts up, choose to speak words of life instead. These are such practical examples of how to apply this text to those deeply annoying, exhausting moments that test our patience every single day.
Sometimes, though, the hurdle isn't emotional at all. Sometimes it's just purely physical. If you're dealing with physical discomfort, chronic pain, or just that absolute mid-afternoon exhaustion, the source highlights this really beautiful visual from Isaiah. It's a promise of renewed strength, a reminder that when we feel completely depleted, there is an external source of energy we can tap into that helps us soar, run, and walk without totally burning out. And finally, Sphere 4, finding rest and peace. As the sun sets and the day winds down, the text leaves us with this vital, honestly radical reminder. Rest is created for a purpose. Never feel guilty for taking a break. Think about how crucial that message is for our hyper-fast-paced, always-on culture. Resting is not a failure to be productive. Taking a break is not a sign of weakness. According to this blueprint, rest is a divinely designed purpose intended specifically to help you find your strength again. To really reinforce this idea, the source uses this famous invitation from Matthew, and it perfectly captures that comforting evening tone. It's basically an open invitation to take all the burdens we've accumulated all day, the broken plans, the tough conversations, the financial stress, and literally just cast them aside. You aren't meant to sleep with that heavy weight on your shoulders.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer. As you finish your day and prepare to close your eyes, I want you to reflect on this. As you lie down in peace tonight, will you remember who walked beside you through every single moment? Because honestly, the chaos of the day looks very, very different when you realize you never actually walked through it alone.